It was a bright, crisp November day in Philadelphia as a sellout crowd of over 60,000 filled colorful, carpeted Franklin Field to see the hometown Eagles battle the only undefeated team in pro football, the Los Angeles Rams. This was the West Coast squad's first visit to the Quaker City in a decade, and as befitted their Hollywood background, their entourage included both some widely known stars, such as Jim Nabors, and an abundance of colorful performers. But unlike some of the Los Angeles teams of the past, these Rams are all business. The reason for it is this man. Few coaches work as hard at the game as George Allen, and few command the intense loyalty from their players. Allen's team has won 8 in a row, the best start in the NFL in 7 years. It is an experienced, mature team that, in the tradition of all winners, makes few mistakes. Quarterback Roman Gabriel is having his finest season. He has been intercepted only once all year and ranks first in touchdown passes with 17. He throws to fine receivers like 84 Jack Snow, tight end Billy Truax, and explosive newcomer Wendell Tucker. This year, Gabriel has another weapon, a consistent ground attack, led by Les Josephson and number 38 rookie Larry Smith. But the Rams' great strength is their defensive line led by the great Deacon Jones and the massive Merlin Olsen. They comprise the best left side to be found anywhere. On the right are 2 new members, number 72, Dyron Talbert, and number 79, Coy Bacon. They are backed up by 285-pound Roger Brown. This new version of the fearsome foursome has sacked opposing quarterbacks 37 times. Once again, tops in the league, while the offensive line has protected Gabriel on all but 8 occasions. One of the biggest reasons is number 76, Bob Brown, generally regarded as football's finest offensive tackle. Joining him in a hometown reunion are former Eagles Maxie Baughan, Jim Nettles, Izzy Lang, and Alvin Hayman. But the ex-Eagles will find more changes than AstroTurf in Franklin Field. Led by Coach Jerry Williams, their host bears little resemblance to the Eagles of old. There's a new feeling about football in Philadelphia. Philly's fortunes still rest with Norm Snead at quarterback. But this year, the veteran from Wake Forest appears to be headed for an excellent season. He's helped by 2 of the quickest receivers in the league, Ben Hawkins and Harold Jackson. Jackson was one of 5 starters acquired in trades with the Rams this year. So there was a lot of personal pride on the line as L.A. went for its 9th straight, and Philadelphia tried to remain on the road to respectability. I'm Jack Whitaker, and this is the NFL Game of the Week. The Rams won the toss, elected to receive, and for a while, it looked as if the game might have been decided right there. In Josephson and Smith, Los Angeles has a completely revamped running game. Last year's starters, Willie Ellison and Tommy Mason, are on the bench. And perennial workhorse Dick Bass is on the cab squad. Number 34, Josephson, has completely recovered from his Achilles injury, and anyone familiar with George Allen's attitude about rookies knows how good Smith, number 38, must be. The tandem started by running over and through the Eagle defense. After moving upfield on the ground, Gabriel went to the air on 3rd down and discovered Philadelphia wasn't vulnerable. He threw under pressure, and 7-year veteran Nate Ramsey broke up the pass intended for Billy Truax. Bruce Gossett is the 2nd leading scorer in the league, but he failed to add to his total from 42 yards out. The Eagles discovered that Los Angeles could be stopped. It didn't take long for the Ram defense to assert itself. Deacon Jones deflected this pass at the line of scrimmage. And when Philadelphia tried to run, they found the men from the West, particularly number 57, middle linebacker Doug Woodleaf, excel in that phase of the game also. Their first series ended with a punt. An Eagle alumnus, Alvin Heyman, leads the league in punt returns, averaging about 14 yards. Punter Bill Bradley and the Eagles lead the league in defensing punt returns, with slightly over 3 yards allowed. Something had to give. It was Heyman. He misjudged Bradley's weaving kick, and the Eagle pursuit did the rest. With the ball deep in his own territory, Gabriel threw to Wendell Tucker, the fastest of the Ram receivers, in an attempt to shake him free. But Tucker was boxed in by Irv Cross and Nate Ramsey. This was an integral part of the Eagles' defensive strategy today. Another part of the strategy called for a strong rush by a front four which has shown much promise. Today, the line was further bolstered by the return of Gary Pettigrew. Their quarry was Roman Gabriel, who at 6'4", 220 pounds, is the biggest and strongest quarterback in the league. Not surprisingly, he is almost impossible to bring down. With a third down possession play in Los Angeles deep in Eagle territory, Tucker split to the opposite side in an effort to test the left side of the Philadelphia secondary. Gabriel was pressured just slightly, and Al Nelson stayed right with the speedy Tucker as the ball sailed harmlessly incomplete. The Eagle defense had held again. The problem for Norman Snead today was considerable. He had to attack a defense that leads the league in two vital statistics: fewest yards allowed running and smallest percentage of successful passes allowed. Snead set up deep. His line held long enough, and he hit Harold Jackson on a slant in for good yardage. Sam Baker put his foot into a 44-yard field goal attempt. The ball went through the uprights with plenty to spare, and Philadelphia was out in front of the Rams. Sam Baker, a 15-year veteran, exited a happy man as the quarter ended with his team ahead 3-0. Early in the second quarter, Coach George Allen watched in disbelief as the Eagles accomplished the near impossible. They ran through the Ram defense. Fullback Tom Woodeshick, number 37, put on a display of some of the strongest running ever witnessed at Franklin Field. The Rams fought a defense braced, but nobody was going to stop Woodeshick today. And when Los Angeles became overconscious of the run, Snead winged the ball toward Harold Jackson, whose defender, number 24, Clancy Williams, was so intent on the foot race, he didn't go for the ball until it was too late. Jackson and Snead had their trophy, an Eagle touchdown. For 9-year veteran Snead, it was his 90th career touchdown pass. Another look shows the line gave their quarterback enough time to throw before hitting the diminutive flanker. Jackson was obtained in a trade from the Rams on the recommendation of Irv Cross, another ex-Ram. Cross remembered he had difficulty in covering Jackson in practices. Ironically, Los Angeles deemed Jackson expendable because of the presence of Wendell Tucker, who was an inch larger at 5'9". Amazingly, the maligned Eagles were working on a 10-0 shutout over one of the best in the NFL. The pent-up Philadelphia team put on a vicious display of containment. Led by number 88, Gary Pettigrew, they continually stopped the Ram running game at every turn. Veteran Floyd Peters, Mel Tom, and Dave Lloyd were superb too. But no one had a better day than number 82, Tim Rosevich. His man was none other than the great Bob Brown. Nevertheless, Rosevich enjoyed the greatest day of his career. Bob Brown's homecoming was one he'll remember. For the remainder of the half, each Ram offensive series ended on either a punt or a missed field goal. Wisely, Snead and the Eagles stayed with the ground game for the rest of the half, and Woodeshick tore through the Ram defense time and time again. The fullback depends upon brute strength more than finesse. He beats people physically, as the Ram defenders will attest. Today, he would total 130 yards, more than anyone has ever gained against a George Allen coached team. Highly publicized rookie Leroy Keys seems to have found a home at setback after a trial on defense. Keys appears too tall and lean for a running back, but his efforts tell the true story. Woodeshick and Keys weren't beating the best defense in pro football by themselves. The Eagle line was blocking beautifully. Joe Corolla, Jim Skaggs, Dick Hart, and Lane Howell led the way with a vicious display that had some of the Rams wondering what hit them. Despite the good ground yardage, which totaled over 100 yards in the half, the Eagles couldn't score again. But a fired-up Philadelphia team had the momentum going for them, and it appeared it would take a superior effort to stop them in the second half. The Rams, true to form, hadn't been making mistakes. They simply were being outplayed.